Hey, rayodaniel here, and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to continue with our high-level video series. And this video, what we're going to be talking about is workflows. So before we get started, please click the subscribe and like to this channel and this video if you like it. I would appreciate it. It helps me grow the channel. And if you are interested in high level, please use the affiliate link below to sign up. I do get credit for it. Thank you so much, and let's get to it. So here we are inside of one of our sub accounts, and before we start getting into workflows, I just want to let you know workflows are the absolute core of the automation that Highlevel has. Everything that you can do, that you can configure through automation, is done using a workflow in Highlevel. So out of all the features that are on the channel, all the things that you can do, workflows are just the greatest component of Highlevel, because it allows you to put all the logic of your business processes and how you follow up with customers and just how you respond to customers quickly can be completely automated using some of the workflows that we have in here. So I can make this video last probably a whole day, 8-hour day. But right now I'm going to condense this down and just show you some of the components that you have to work with workflows, what's available, and then I'm going to show you several of the ones that Highlevel gives you right off the bat so you don't have to rebuild the same workflows over and over again. So let's get to it. Here on the left-hand side, if you want to go to the automations area, you see that we have workflows. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just, well, first of all, let me just say that you can create folders here in workflows. If you do create a lot of workflows, it's great to segment them, to put them into their different folders, just to make it easy to follow up to find out where they're at. Specifically, if you're dealing with I do this a lot if I'm testing workflows or building a lot of sample workflows. I hate leaving those at the root so you see all the workflows. I put those into sort of like a test folder so that I know everything in the test folder really isn't live. It's me just playing around and trying to figure out maybe how some things work. And then when they do work, I can rename it and then move that workflow to the appropriate folder. So hope that makes sense for you, but you utilize folders as a way to organize all of your workflows. So right now, when you create a workflow, there's several different options that we're going to be able to get to pick from. Now, I'm going to go over a couple of these here, but before I get started, I just want to go from the ones where it starts from scratch, so you can see what it looks like empty. So here are where the workflows, here's where you can sit back and get everything to configure. Now, workflows can be used in a couple of different ways. Workflows can be used as a way to trigger off when something happens inside of Highlevel. That's one way you could use a workflow. Another way you can use a workflow is to not have it trigger off anything that happens inside of Highlevel, but you can have it activated from another workflow. So I'm going to show you the example of that, some of the pre-built ones that we have. But basically, if here at the top where it says add new workflow trigger, if a workflow does not have a trigger, then there's no way to implement it or activate this workflow except to do it manually using another workflow. So right now, if you're, let's take a look at some of the components that you can use inside of workflows, and this will give you an idea of what I mean and how you can activate that. So, I'm sorry, getting ahead of myself here. You see the tabs across actions, settings, history, and status. Right now, this setting is a way that you can go in and configure the workflow. This one is set to be able to fire anytime, or you could say only fire this between specific times. So you might have workflows that you may only want to activate during business hours. I couldn't really give you a great example of that. Just there are times when you may want to restrict when this thing fires off and when it goes, but this is where you can set it. Also, from the sender address, if you ever wanted to hard code a name and email to be used throughout your workflows, so you don't have to manually configure that every time, this is where you can put this in here. Now, here's a great one. This is where kind of a rookie mistake that I got caught up with myself when I started using workflows is allow multiple. Now, if you do not allow this, what you're doing is you're only allowing a particular contact to go through this workflow one time. If that's all you want to do, if you want them to go through it one time and never use it for a repetitive process, then don't check this box. But if you ever see a contact or you having somebody use this workflow over and over again for whatever reason, then you need to select allow multiple, because without that, the workflow, once HighLevel sees that that user's already been through the workflow, it won't put them through it again. So unless you have that selected. So some of the other things that you can configure in here: stop on response. If I blow this up, ends workflow if the contact responds to the message that came. So you can configure some of these other ones. Auto mark on read, workflow sequence. So we're not going to go over any of those here in the examples that I'm going to give you. But you can also just look at the history. This is like when the workflow was created, who modified it, when was the last time it was modified, things like that can be found here, and then just the status of it, of the events that are happening inside of your workflow. So you can just see all the different steps of all the people going through it, where they're at in what particular step. So it allows you a little bit later on, if you're troubleshooting a workflow, to be able to get some better data. So right now we're going to go back to actions, and we're going to go to setting up a trigger. First of all, if you click on this, there are all these items that in here can trigger workflow to start automatically. So I know I'm scrolling through here quite fast, but some of the common things that you can do is, number one, if somebody books an appointment, if you have a calendar, somebody books an appointment, boom, you could trigger a workflow. Now, if a contact, any one of these, I'm going to blow this up a bit if I can. One of these, a birthday reminder. So if you have the birthday field configured on a contact and their birthday is coming up, boom, that's enough to trigger this and have a workflow to send a happy birthday card or a happy birthday text or something to your clients. That may be something that you can completely automate and have it completely set and never think about it again. So contact, do not disturb. If you add a tag to a contact, that can trigger a workflow to be added. Some of the actions, if a customer responds, for instance, if they send you a text, an email, or a Facebook message, or a Google My Business message, or an Instagram DM, or anything like that, that's a reply. That reply can be taken into the system, and then that can activate a workflow like, hey, a customer just tried to respond or just tried to contact me. What do I do with that? And we're going to take a look at one of those examples a little bit later on. So whenever somebody submits a form, if they fill out a form, that's on here. Surveys, trigger links, we're going to look at that in one of the examples. If somebody clicked on a trigger link, which a trigger link is basically a special link that you configured that says, hey, HighLevel, when somebody clicks on this particular link in the email or text message, I want you to track that and let me do something so that I can respond to let me know that they've clicked on it. And like, for instance, they might be interested in a product. So if they clicked on that, then I might want to put them in a nurture campaign that's going to help them buy that product later if I know they clicked on that product link. So that's another great thing. If somebody calls, if somebody emails, if you get a Facebook lead submission, so anything regarding your membership sites, if they complete a category, if they complete a module in your category course, then you can have a workflow fire to say, hey, congrats, I just saw you finished up module 1. Terrific, keep going, something like that. Or if somebody signs up for your membership course, all of these are different things that can happen inside of HighLevel that allows you to track it and then do something as a result of it. So Shopify, it does integrate with Shopify. So if they place an order on your Shopify store and so forth, you can track that once you've got that connected. Now, one of the great things about it is they just added this video tracking feature. So imagine if you can track, like if somebody watches a video and they watch, say, 25% of the video, then you can initiate a workflow because they've watched 25% of a video that might be on a funnel page. That's pretty exciting. Because if they sat back and watched that much of it, they must be interested. Or if they watch 50%. So you can adjust what it is, but you can activate this based upon just somebody watching how long they watch a video on your site. So that's pretty exciting too. And they actually integrate with TikTok forums as well. So I just wanted to sit back and show you that. Those are all the things that can trigger a workflow to happen. Now again, if a workflow has a trigger, then something needs to execute it. But if it doesn't have a trigger, then most likely it's being activated within another workflow. So if you click on this little plus element here, this adds a component to it. Now, these actions are different than the triggers. Some of them could be similar, but a trigger and an action are going to be different. So inside here, you see that the Highlevel has just introduced some premium features. So if somebody makes a change on a Google Sheet or has a Slack integration and there's a Slack channel update, somebody sends an update on, you could integrate that and fire a workflow off. Or if somebody even wants to send data, you can actually receive data using a webhook for those people that are more technically inclined. But right now, some of the nice things that you can add is sending an email, placing a call, sending a voicemail messenger, responding to a Facebook Messenger, Instagram DM, initiating a manual call, Google My Business messaging. All of these are available for you to do inside of a workflow. So CRM, here are some of the features that you have here. Blow this up just a bit. Now notice here, one of them is going to be add to a workflow or remove from a workflow. So one of the nice things, you can sit back and if this is a workflow, if you want to select this, you could say add to a workflow, and you can actually select this and choose another workflow for them to be added to. Now, I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to just cancel out of this. But if you take a look, these are all the actions from the CRM component. Here's all the ones from the external communications, ways that somebody can communicate from the outside into Highlevel that it tracks. Membership actions, if they go inside of a membership site, and you actually have some additional logic, some if, then, else statements that you can do, waits. You can actually send data out using a webhook, like to those people that know what Zapier is and using external zaps. You can do that. You can actually go to, so if they're in a certain area of the workflow, you can make them go back to one particular step of the workflow and loop back through if it doesn't, if they don't answer the way they're supposed to for whatever reason, you could do that. So you can do lots of different things here inside of a workflow. So I'm not going to build a workflow manually. I think some of the best ways to show you workflows is to first show you the components that can go into a workflow, the components that can trigger a workflow. Now let's go in and just, why reinvent the wheel when we can sit back and, I'm gonna delete this one here. This basically has nothing. I want to go in and use some of the workflows that Highlevel has already created. So if you go to create workflow, some of these templates are automatically done for you. We're going to look at some simple ones and then get more complicated. So right now we're going to be looking at just the appointment booking. Notice detect intent of customer, reply to and send them a booking link, or create a manual SMS to help them make a decision. So if you deal with appointment bookings, then here's a way that you can sit back and do this. Notice there's no trigger, so this must have to be activated from somewhere else, like another workflow. But they already give you, here's the appointment prompt that you can send them whenever they're trying to set up a booking. Hey, thanks for taking advantage of our offer. The next step is to book a quick consultation. Is now a good time to get you booked? And you can add the user's name and the location. So thanks, John from Paul's Plumbing or something like that. So that's a way that you could set that up. Then you have a wait. You wait for the response, and you wait up to 1 day. So if they reply, so notice here, this is an if-else statement. So it comes in here and goes, well, you send them a text message. If they replied within 1 day, then yes, they replied. If they didn't reply within a day, then it would be no, they didn't reply. So notice here that this branch, did they reply? Yes. So if they said, is now a good time to book, click yes, then yes, they did reply. So they wait for a response, said yes, they did reply. It goes down the yes branch here. Now, right now we're going to do that their intent here is positive. So basically that we're creating a branch that says, do they want to book an appointment? Kind of yes or no. So we're coming over here and we go to yes if their intent is yes. Then we send them a calendar link. Great job. Grab an opening that works for you here. And then if they're no, they don't want to book an appointment, then you can just, whatever they responded, whatever message that the particular person responded, just gets emailed on an internal notification to the user to let them know this is how a user responded, and maybe there's a manual follow-up process later. But this is just one simple appointment booking that they have booked for you. I'm going to go ahead and just look at some of the more complicated one. I'm going to look here at this one. This one is a little bit more complicated, but it has a lot of other features in it. So I'm going to select this one and then create new workflow. So here we see this one does have a trigger. So it's for an appointment. And the appointment status means whenever an appointment, event type, normal, appointment status gets confirmed. So basically, if somebody books an appointment using a calendar, this workflow will fire when it's active. So the first thing, without going through all of this, it sends them a confirmation email. It says, hey, you booked it. Here's your booking. You booked it out. Here's the information. 24 hours before the appointment, it sends them a reminder email and SMS. If you take a look here, so it reminds them, again, appointment confirmation, reminder, then a survey, then a review request. So it does all that. So it sends them a review request to get a 5-star review, on top of sending them a survey to find out how the work was done, on top of reminding them of their appointments and confirming it. So all of this is done. All you have to do is come in here and slightly customize this for your own use. But the basic infrastructure is already there. So 1 hour before the appointment, it sends an email and an SMS. Then it's going to wait 1 hour after the appointment. So the system knows when their appointment is and will wait 1 hour. After the hour, this little notification gets sent out. It's an internal notification that gets sent to the team. So it gets sent here to, this just says booking@youragency.com. So whoever's responsible for the appointment or the person involved in that would get the email. And it would just say, how did the appointment with contact name, so how did the appointment with John Smith go? Now here's where you would need to customize it. This is going back to utilizing trigger links that we spoke about. So the trigger links you would have to configure, but you would say they showed and purchased. They showed and purchased. They showed but didn't purchase. They didn't show. So all the system is looking for is how did the appointment go? So again, an hour after the appointment, somebody, an internal user gets an email, and the email just has these 3 links. You click whatever link is appropriate for that person. They showed and purchased something. They showed but didn't purchase, or they didn't show. So based upon that, this is what happens. So you send a notification, and then it says, we're going to wait. We're going to wait until something, a trigger link in that email is clicked. And then only after that are we going to continue with the rest of our logic processing. So that's what this means. Now, did they click link 1? So if you come back up in here, did they click the first link, which is they showed and purchased? So if the answer is yes, then they go down this path. If the answer is no, then they go down this path. So let's do the yes first. So they click yes, they did show and they paid. So yes, wait until purchase amount is entered. So this is where you have to sit back and you've got a wait condition. Mark the opportunity 1. So that particular contact that's in the pipeline, we move that particular person into a 1 status because that person showed and we won. Now, here's where you can sit back if you don't have the Facebook integration. Maybe the Facebook came from a lead from a Facebook ad. But if it did, you can actually send a notice back to do a conversion on the API for Facebook that says, hey, the person that bought this was actually converted, and you actually put in your Pixel ID. So that gets a little bit more complicated. If you don't use that, you can just simply delete it. And then finally, you send them a review request. So they showed up, they purchased. You click on the link that said they showed up and purchased. It waits for a certain response. It updates your pipeline to make sure the customer's won, so it shows on your dashboard. It updates Facebook for the Pixel, and then it sends them a review request, and then it ends. So that's how the workflow would go if the person responded and clicked on the first link. Now, if they didn't click on the first link, they would go no on this path, and then here they would say, did the person click on link 2? So if we come back up here to the notification, link 2 would be they showed but did not purchase. So if they clicked on that link, then they came here and they clicked yes. You see there's nothing here. So this is where you would need to add a step in here. Like, what do you want to do? They showed but they didn't purchase. Do you want to add them to a follow-up campaign? You can click on here and just say, go to workflow, for instance, and add them to a workflow. and choose, like a customer didn't buy email follow-up workflow. And you can manually send them down that particular path if they showed up but they didn't purchase. So that's one way. But let's just say you didn't click on link 2, so it follows no. Then did they click the last link? So if they click the last link, yes and no, this is where you would have to come in here and put in your custom logic. If they clicked yes, that they didn't show up, then you can add them to a follow-up campaign of, hey, I'm sorry you missed your appointment. Please, let's rebook another appointment. Here's a schedule link. You can do any of those type of things and send them an SMS and email and put them into a follow-up campaign to get them back in, reschedule, and get to the point where they can buy something. So I'm going to go over one more workflow. You can kind of see some of the power of how you can handle and deal with workflows here. But I'm going to just do one other thing here. I did see one I thought was pretty cool. I think this one was at the Fast 5. No. It was an auto reply template here. So recipe, frequently asked questions, auto reply. So when you have a business and somebody tries to communicate with you, most of the time, if they're going to communicate with you through SMS, your web chat widget, or Google My Business or Facebook, they really want to ask a question. They're trying to get an answer to a question that maybe is not there. So here's a good auto reply sequence that you can use, and it's pretty awesome. So notice here on this one, you have the trigger on this one. Not only is just one trigger, but you can have multiple triggers on workflows. It doesn't have to just be one thing. It could be one of many things that happen. So here, new Instagram DM. So if somebody sends me a message through Instagram, if they send me on the website, they go through the chat widget. If they go through Google My Business or send me a Facebook message, any one of these, if they send me any one of these and they come into Highlevel, I want you to respond because there's somebody reaching out on a channel that is trying to contact me and I want to reply back to them. So you come down here, you simply look at the condition. So what this does is this is answering a very specific question. This is just asking about, it's looking for the words you located. Now, the message could be something like, are you located at 123 Main Street? That could be an email message that they're looking for, but the keywords that you're trying to target on are you located. That's what this means. You could change this to whatever. You can add as many of these as you want, but if it contains you located, then this FAQ is going to reply back to them with the response. So the condition is, does it have you located? If yes, then what it does is it sends an SMS just saying location name. So it gives them the name. Bot here is what it says. So it could be Joe's Plumbing Bot here. We're located at 123 Main Street, right next to the library, is what it is. So it could be something like that. And you can customize this message to be whatever you'd like. But notice on here what it does. It can't necessarily sense one particular part, if it was through SMS or Messenger. So what this does is it sends it out through all channels. And if somebody only contacted you through, say, through your let's just say Facebook Messenger, then the SMS message on this will fail, the Instagram DM will fail, and the Google message will fail. But you're handling all four of these at once. So you're just saying send out on all four channels, and whatever channel they communicated with you on, I'm going to respond back on. That's kind of what they're doing here. So each one of these has a similar message. Notice that the message here is going to be the same. You just don't exactly know what channel it's on. Now, if you wanted to, could you isolate this to just have one workflow that handles all the Instagram DMs? Sure. And then you have another workflow that handles all the Facebook messengers, but now you're handling, maybe 3 or 4 different workflows that handles the same logic process that you can do inside of one. So I thought this was really good because you can do this and continue to take this whole process and just continue to add and grow on this one. So one of the nice features inside of a workflow too, if you click on here, you can simply copy You can copy or move this whole thing and copy it somewhere else. So you can make a complete copy of this and all of the logic underneath it without having to do it again. So here, if I want to click copy, then notice I'm copying all of it, and then I'm click here, and now I can copy it down here, so I have an exact copy of this. So once I build out a structure and a workflow, I don't have to recreate that 5 or 6 times. I could take the high level component, just say copy, and put a copy here, copy and put another one here, copy and put another one here. So it's really flexible on workflows. Really, dealing with workflows is almost like an art, that you have to be creative enough to understand how you want to connect these things and be able to respond to them, whether it's a workflow that's initiated by something somebody does inside of Highlevel, or you kick off a workflow based upon something that you notice, like somebody not showing up for an appointment. Well, you don't want to lose that customer and just have them fall off. If you know they have an appointment, then have another workflow kick off that's going to re-engage them to rebook the appointment. And then if not, worst case scenario, if they won't rebook, then have somebody call them and find out why, rather than losing the customer. So this is how you can use workflows inside of Highlevel. I hope you found this useful. Thank you so much for looking at my channel. If you did find it useful, hit the subscribe and like on the video again. Thank you so much and have a great day. Hey, I want to thank you again for visiting my channel and give you one more little thing here. If you are interested in Highlevel and getting some additional high-level training, please see the link in the description below. I do have a free course I'm offering that covers everything related to Highlevel and gives you all the information that you need to know. Thank you so much and have a great day.